Orbit channel. We're here to do another obstacle review on some nice we got from Foul Fingers FB. So here we have the 3-square fence with pole jam. It's also detachable, which is a really nice feature. But yeah, so the specs of it, lengthwise it's about 21 centimeters, and widthwise it's about 8.2 centimeters, what we put on the ruler. So if you want to put it into like fingerboard terms, it's just like a 34 millimeter wide deck, which doesn't really matter, but it's about like 2 fingerboard lengths. So yeah, it's a pretty decent size. So the pole jam and the fence, I'm not exactly sure what type of metal it's made out of, but it's pretty durable, and when you're actually like hitting grinds on the fence and just sliding up the pole jam, it's really smooth on the trucks, like no kind of like grittiness at all. And grittiness can feel good sometimes, but it's a really smooth grind. And then this bottom section here is fully made out of concrete. It's partially why we got this obstacle, because none of us had anything made out of concrete yet. But it's got this really nice red paint all along this bottom edge here. And then the top part's just supposed to look like 3 squares. That's why it's called the 3-square. And yeah, it sounds really nice when you roll over the little crevices. You can kind of see like all along the concrete and stuff after a bit of use. I think we've had these for about 2-ish weeks now. It scratches up really nicely, and it looks, you know, really realistic, like along the sides, the way it kind of like grinds off a bit. And then the fence itself, you can see these like little, the way it's like twisted off at the ends and stuff. It just looks really cool with the mesh, and the material is just really nice as well, and it just really gives that realistic feel. And the extra little details on the side just look super sick as well.
Alright, so briefly I'm just gonna talk about a couple of the negatives, and then just like how fingerboardable the obstacle is, I guess you could say, like what you can do with it kind of thing. So one of the only real negatives that we could find was that it appears to be made in like some sort of 3D printed mold, and you can see it's got some lines on it, which just takes a little bit away from the realistic nature of it. Specifically, especially right here, where like the concrete wasn't pressed down enough, I guess, so we get this little ridge there. It's not a big deal. I don't, you know, it's not like I really care. It's just something to let you know. And then something that could be considered a problem for some people is some parts of it are a little rough, like the ends of the pole jam where they were cut off. It can be a little sharp on the points there. So if you're like doing a trick and slam your hand down on there, you might get a little cut. Same thing with the fence. This isn't the case with mine, but we did buy multiple of these, and the one that Cam got, the ends of the fence poked up a bit, so he had to kind of sand them down a bit so they didn't rub. So, but yeah, I mean, not big negatives, fixable little things, and it's to be expected for like a homemade obstacle like this. Alright, so I'll just talk a bit about how it's used and how it can wear. So as you can see, our boards are really nice and worn, and part of it, specifically for this one, which is a newer deck, is due to this obstacle. You can see all these little scratches on the front here. Most of these are from the pole jam, because when you ride up, you come up to do a trick, and it's going to end up scratching as it goes off. And we're not saying that's a bad thing. We're personally big fans of wear. It actually looks pretty awesome. And then also along, like where the nose and tail bend up, are extra scratched on this one too from the little fence notches. But yeah, it doesn't detract from the look. In fact, we think it improves it. And then, yeah, so just going over how usable it is, it's really nice to use. It's super fun to just have on the desk. It's just the perfect height for, you know, doing a little shove on, running off the pole jam. The pole jam is nice to ride off, like it's just smooth transition all the way up. The rails are super nice height for just, you know, ollie and kick flipping on, whatever. Yeah, and obviously it's a curb, so you're not going to be able to do too many crazy grinds and slides on it, but you know, little grinds are nice on it, and the grinds feel really good. It's a nice gritty concrete feel. Alright, so last thing we'll talk about is just the price. So on this site, this goes for 35 USD, so for us that ended up being about 44 Canadian, I think, and that's before shipping, which to Canada, everything's expensive for shipping, so it ended up being quite a bit more expensive, but honestly, it's worth it. It's a great obstacle, and if you live in the US, I'm sure it's significantly cheaper, so these are honestly a pretty good deal for what you get. One of the better deals of concrete obstacles, at least that we've found, and yeah, we're pretty happy with it, and we would definitely recommend. Yeah. Time to shred.
Nice on.
Yes!
And at this point, like every unique. Oh.
Wicked. Probably on ass time. Oh, Cam, I think.